So, one thing that I see very often is people just thinking, well, I can just post content and I'll be fine. Everything will be fine if I just keep showing up and posting something. But at the end of the day, it's a huge mistake because if you're not strategic and intentional with the content that you're creating and what you're putting out into the world, then you're kind of shooting in the dark and you don't really know what's going to resonate. When is it going to resonate with your people? And when I think back to whenever I first started my podcast in 2018, that's kind of what I was doing, right? I'll tell on myself. I definitely didn't have a business model canvas or a customer journey mapped out, looking at exactly what I'm hoping will be the experience when someone finds a YouTube video or stumbles on my podcast or gets on my email list or follows me on Instagram. I wasn't thinking about any of those things. I was like, let me just start creating a piece of content and see what happens, right? It's the old adage of throwing spaghetti against the wall to see what will stick. But for you, I really want you to be laser focused on either one of these strategies and see which one can work really well for you. And don't worry, I'm going to break both of them down right now. So, the first one is the business model canvas. And there are 9 key pieces of this that I want to make sure that you fully understand. And I actually created a PDF download for you to follow along. So, make sure you go grab that at the link where you're watching this video, and we'll make sure that you have the resources that you need to really put this into action immediately today, right now. You can actually pause the video, go grab it, then come back to this because this is really important if you've never done this exercise before. So I'm actually going to look at my notes and I'm going to walk through the 9 pieces of what I believe are the crucial pieces of the business model canvas. This is not something that I came up with. This is something that is taught. And I'm going to adjust them slightly to talk specifically to this audience that are looking to run an online business and have something to sell to a specific audience. Okay. So the first one is your customer segment. Who are you talking to? Right? Who are those people? Who are your ideal customer avatars or those target audience, those groups that you really want to focus on? Because those are the people that matter most here. It's who I'm thinking about whenever I'm creating my content. It's typically business owners that want to create content or use content to drive revenue in their business or have lead generation or make deeper connections with their customers, but they really want to do all of that without burning out. It's very specific. It's not just all business owners of all shapes and sizes and all kinds. I'm typically talking to those small to mid-sized businesses that are really looking to content to help them make those connections with their brand so that customers know them, like them, trust them, and are ready to make purchasing and buying decisions a lot faster than people who are not creating content in that same niche or market. So that's the very first piece is you really need to understand who your customer segment is, the people that you're talking to, because they're going to be the ones that are paying you money down the road. The second one is your value proposition. What are you offering? What problem do you solve? Or what kind of value do you provide? And one thing that I've heard time and time again from this audience specifically is you're coming here to learn tools, tips, get resources to help you create content without burning out. That is the specific piece. That's the differentiating value proposition is I'm not here to teach you how to go viral, how to get millions of downloads in 24 hours. I'm here to help you create proven systems and develop strategies that keep you here, creating long after you've launched your content and help you create systems that are sustainable to the life and the business that you really want. So that is the value proposition for Proffitt Media and how we're creating content. So what does that look like for you and your business? What makes you unique, right? You'll usually see this as your USP, your unique selling point. That is your value proposition. Get in the conversation with ChatGPT or your customers. And if you have not figured this out, it needs to be a priority. Right behind who are you talking to, you need to know what is that unique selling position or that unique value proposition that you offer to your customers and your audience. The next one, the third one, this one's super important too. You'll notice that I'm going to say all of these are important, but this is one that I think is crucial for those of you creating content so that you don't burn out is your channels. How are you reaching people? How are you reaching this ideal audience with this unique value proposition that you created? Like, are you going to be in all the places? I don't think that you should. I'm going to throw that out there. I'm not in all the places. I'm not on TikTok. You won't see me on X. Like these are places where I don't show up like at all. I think I have accounts on those platforms, but I don't consistently create content there. For me, I've chosen 5 places where I show up regularly online. That is my email newsletter, goes out every Friday. I have my YouTube videos. I have my long form ones that come out every Thursday. Then I have Instagram. We have our blog post. And I feel like I'm forgetting another one that we do, the podcast. That's what we have. So that's like the audio only version of what we're doing on the YouTube channel. And this has changed over the years, but I typically have 5 places that I show up regularly. Now, am I repurposing content to all of those places? Absolutely, yes. This is not unique pieces of content for every single platform. It's typically a long form version that gets repurposed in some form or fashion, but I am showing up on these channels regularly and consistently. So I'm curious, please tell me in the comments what channels can you commit to? Like, what are the ones where you can show up regularly? Tell us where they are. Drop your handles below. Put your website in there. I don't care. Like, flood the comments with where you are showing up regularly, and maybe we can take some inspiration off of what other people doing and how they're showing up. But your channels are very specific. You need to define what that looks like so you don't feel overwhelmed. You don't feel like you also need to show up every day on LinkedIn and Pinterest and Reddit and all the other places, unless your audience is there, right? Going back to that first step of your customer segment, unless your audience is there, maybe you should show up on some of these other platforms where I'm not consistently showing up. But at the end of the day, you just need to decide what those channels look like. All right, number 4, customer relationships. How do you interact with your people? And this could be one of those conversations that goes back to branding, like who is your brand voice? What's your brand identity? What's your brand mission, vision, all of those key pieces. But at the end of the day, I just think about how do I want my customers to feel and how do I nurture those relationships with them? The top thing that comes to mind is my content. That is how I am engaging and interacting with customers and people that I am working with on a regular basis. Whether it's, I don't do a lot of in-person events, so I'm doing Zoom calls, I'm conversating through our private communities or on Slack or through email. And I always want people to feel very supported. I want them to have that clear expectation of what they're getting when they purchase one of our offers or they work with me one-on-one through coaching. I want it to be very clear. I never want someone to be confused about what they're buying, what they're getting, what is the price point, what can I expect? I want them to be a very detailed outline of you're working with us. This is what you can expect when you join one of our programs or you work with us through coaching. So having clear customer relationship guidelines, if you will, is something really important. So if you've never thought about that before, at the end of the day, it's just how do you want your customers to feel when they're interacting with you? It's a very important question. If you've never asked yourself that before, that's one that you should go do your homework on. Okay, moving on to number 5. What are your revenue streams? How are you going to make money? You can't have a business if you don't have something to generate and make you money. If you don't have any of those, then you just have a hobby. I know it's kind of hard to hear. And I didn't like hearing that whenever I first started and I wasn't making any money. I was like, no, I'm here. I'm showing up. Like, I'm serious. I'm a serious business owner and I'm going to make money. Well, I didn't have any revenue streams. I was a hobby. It was a hobby until it wasn't, until it turned into a business. So how are you going to earn revenue, earn income with what you're doing? It could just be YouTube AdSense. Awesome. More power to you. I love that for you. It could be sponsorships on your newsletter. It could be selling digital products through your Instagram. I don't care what it is, but you need to figure out, how are you going to make money? Are you going to be selling digital products? Are you going to sell coaching? Are you going to sell, actual physical products, tangible things? You're going to sell downloadables. Like, we could go on and on. Affiliates. Are you going to do other types of services like done for you support? What does that look like? If you've never thought about these things, these are crucial to figure out for your business model. That way it's not confusing down the road when you're creating content. You can say, oh yeah, I'm going to offer up this digital course, like our Profit Podcasting course. It teaches you how to start, launch, and market a podcast in 30 days or less. Like, these are things that I had to think through and prepare myself and have that strategic, intentional plan in front of me, so that when I'm creating content, it's just very clear, oh yeah, this is when I need to talk about that thing, or this is when I need to offer that I do one-on-one coaching. If you're interested, you can take our quiz, krystalproffitt.com/quiz, to see if you qualify to do coaching with us. So have those revenue streams mapped out, or even kind of put like, I would love to do that one day. Maybe you have pieces of this that's like aspirational. You want to do in the next 12 months, the next 24 months, but have something down that you're working towards and those goals, because it can help you define those revenue streams a lot better. All right, the next one, key resources. What are those key resources that you need to deliver on your value proposition or the thing that you're offering? What are those tools? What are those systems? Like, what people do you need to help you run your business? So we have 2 employees here, or I guess I don't want to call them employees. We have contractors. We have freelancers that we work with at Profit Media. We have a virtual assistant that does so much. We're going to shout out to Faye because she is incredible. We found Faye through Virtual Support Wizards. We're a partner with them, and it is an incredible platform for you to vet and find virtual assistants that can help you, whether it's podcast editing, video editing, social media management, project management. Like, they have so many options. So we'll link below in the description to, if you are looking for a virtual assistant or some type of support, you can absolutely go through this agency. They are vetted. I love Faye. She is incredible. But the other thing is we also have a video editor. So I'm going to give a shout out to Jay, right? Jay Sutton. He does an incredible job, and he is integral to this business and the content that we create around here. You would not be watching this video right now if it weren't for Jay. So he is a key resource in how we run our business and how we operate. So what are those key resources to you? Do you need to pay for a service like Kit or Buzzsprout or Riverside, or do you need to have some other type of Google Workspace to help you send emails and access your content through your Google Docs? Like, these are things that you need to think about because they will be very crucial. So write those down. If you don't know what they are, then comment below and I'd be happy to give you some recommendations on our content stack that we use. And we actually have a video right here that is all about content stacks and the different pieces of our business that we use. And we will happily share that with you. Okay, moving along. Key activities as number 7. What do you do regularly? What do you do regularly to run your business, right? What do you do daily? What do you do weekly? What are those tasks that actually move your business forward? When I think about this, I think about my Asana. So I love Asana. I have a love affair with Asana. It is my favorite project management tool. And when I go in there, I can see, okay, I need to write an email. I need to post the next podcast episode. I need to publish a YouTube video. We need to get on Instagram and post stuff. We need to, X, Y, and Z. Like, I put everything that needs to happen in the business on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, monthly, quarterly, yearly. All of our promotions are in there. All of our affiliate promotions and launches are in there. Anything that is important to the key activities we need to do in our business are located in Asana. So I highly recommend having a project management tool after you've figured out what are those key activities. But you can use the PDF guide that we have. Again, we're going to link to it where you're watching the video and into the description. But write down those key activities. What is it that you need to do? Because you likely know what that is. And if you don't, then comment below and we'll do a deep dive video on some of the key activities that we do here around at Proffitt Media that move the needle forward, that keep us showing up consistently, and where we focus our energy so that we can have that big impact and we're not just throwing spaghetti against the wall, just, spraying and praying all of our content everywhere and not really seeing those results. All right, number 8, key partnerships. This is really crucial, and this has developed and evolved over the years, but key partnerships, who helps you? What relationships or tools support you for success? Now, when I think about key partnerships, I really think about the brands that I've worked with that have helped me so much in my business grow to a level that I never knew could happen, right? I partnered with Buzzsprout really early on in my journey. Back in 2018, when I first got started, I got super plugged into their community. And by 2019, I was actually a Buzzsprout creator and working behind the scenes. I was featured on their podcast several times. I was in their blog post. I was in their newsletter. I spoke on stage with them at Podcast Movement in 2021. And so I find that that was one of the most strategic partnerships that I could have had in my content journey. And since then, I've gone on to partner with brands like StreamYard, Amy Porterfield, Marie Forleo, Kit. Like, I have partnered with a lot of industry brands that move the needle in my business, but also make a difference to you and can show you, oh, Krystal is an expert. She shows up on these stages. She shows up on these platforms as an expert for these other businesses. She's trusted. Like, I can see that she is the real deal and not someone just saying all these things and not really like talking the talk and not walking the walk. So I think key partnerships are really crucial. If you haven't thought about what are some of the brands, what are the key influencers that you can connect with in your industry, highly recommend that you reach out into your network or even just look in your network and see. But it could just be that little introduction that you make at a conference or at a podcast interview that can make a really big difference in your business. Okay, we're rounding out to number 9, and this is cost structure. I'm a little bit of a budget nerd, and so I won't go on such a deep dive in this video, but at the end of the day, what does it cost to run your business? If you don't know that, pause this video right now and go figure that out, because you need to know on a regular basis, how much does it cost to keep the lights on, to keep your business going and not get shut down tomorrow because all of a sudden everything fell apart and you don't have money to pay your bills. Like, what are those major costs, right? Is it the contractors and the freelancers that you're working with? Is it all the tools that you've subscribed to? Those are typically the 2 biggest cost expenditures for our business. It's working with our freelancers and paying them a great wage on a regular basis. Like, I am so adamant about paying people what they're worth. And I think it's one of those things that you need to account for that. If you're going to hire someone, just expect that those hires are going to drive results in your business. And if they're not, it's time to rethink some of those relationships. But the key ones that I've kept in my business are really moving the needle for what we're trying to do, and they are worth every single penny. So that's freelancers and people that you can hire. The other side of this is tools. I used to have a really expensive tool stack, and probably in the last 6 months, I really cut those down to only the essentials. And now we are a much leaner operation behind the scenes. I cut everything that we didn't use on a regular basis or something that really just wasn't intentional to the business that we're creating. And so I want you to think about what is that cost structure? What are the things that you need to have in those pieces that are absolutely crucial for you operating your business? So that is the business model canvas. Like I said, make sure that you go and download the PDF so you can follow along and see some of the examples that we mentioned here today that can be really helpful for you taking that next step in your business and getting strategic with your content.